If you've been following my coverage of the Taylor Frankie Paul situation, you've watched this story go through three distinct phases. Phase one was the Bachelorette cancellation and the question of what ABC knew. Phase two was the legal cam escalation, the body cam footage, the DA evaluating probation, relocation, and Taylor potentially losing custody of her son. And phase three is what's happening right now. And it is the most complicated chapter yet because the system has given us an answer that nobody expected. Hey everyone, if you're new to the channel, welcome. And if you're returning, thank you so much for being here. Once again, my name is Erin and I am fascinated by all things cults, true crime, and unique spiritual practices. I post a couple videos every single week on my channel, so if you like this kind of thing, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you here. Now, I'm getting really frustrated with YouTube because they have flagged like 5 of my last videos, and I have to upload and re-upload and ask them to reconsider demonetizing my videos because they've recently changed some of their ad revenue expectations. And basically what it boils down to is anything that discusses things involving children are essentially demonetized immediately, and there's nothing that you can do about it. This is, however, a topic that I think that, yes, some people will exploit, but hopefully you've seen on my channel that I'm sharing certain stories in an effort to educate you guys and bring more awareness to certain situations that are occurring so that we can all understand, like, what is going on and look out for warning signs to protect children. So, my only way to mitigate this is to start posting the complete, unredacted, uncensored versions of my episodes. So, the way that you will get access to these is by joining the first tier of my membership. And you're going to get access to every single video 24 hours early. But not only that, you are going to get completely ad-free, uncensored content. So, if that's something you're interested in, I'm going to be launching it this upcoming week. So, please consider that if you like uncensored content. It is just the name of the game these days on the YouTube. So, enough housekeeping. I know you guys want to hear about Taylor Frankie Paul. So, on April 14th, the Salt Lake County District Attorney's Office announced that it's declining to file any new charges against Taylor Frankie Paul. All three investigations, the Draper PD for the February 2026 incident, West Jordan PD for the newly reported 2024 incident, and the broader review of Dakota Mortenson's allegations have all been reviewed and closed without prosecution. The DA's office cited two reasons, one being the statute of limitations for older incidents and insufficient evidence for the newer ones. Now, if you're confused, yeah, you should be. Because 3 weeks ago, DEA Simgill's office was publicly stating that they'd requested all investigative materials to evaluate and enhance charges and possibly probation revocation. So now they're saying, though, that they can't prosecute because of the statute of limitations. And the April 7th hearing that was supposed to resolve the custody situation instead blew the entire narrative wide open, revealing that there were allegations going in both directions with a child caught in the middle and a system that seemed to be struggling with a case that doesn't really fit into any neat categories. So we're going to try to jump into all of it, starting with the DA declining to charge. The DA said, quote, "The complainant in these cases reported several incidents, some of which occurred more than 3 years ago. Any incidents of misdemeanor offenses which are alleged to have occurred more than 2 years ago are barred by the statute of limitations. Incidents which are alleged to have occurred within the statute of limitations have also been reviewed. Several incidents that were submitted do not rise to the level of criminal offenses. The remaining incidents lack sufficient evidence to support filing criminal charges where the state must be able to prove such allegations beyond a reasonable doubt," unquote. Whoa. I don't think 2 years is long enough to have a statute of limitations on DV, because it's not like after 2 years, people who are abusive are just like, "I think I'm done now, you know? It's been a couple of years, and I think I'm done. Okay? We're good now." I don't think that's how it works. Now, if we'd seen Taylor completely rehabilitating essentially to avoid that kind of behavior, it could be a different story, but these incidents have been happening within that time frame. So for the last 3 years, she has been engaging in violent behavior towards Dakota, and of course, I have to mention he's been engaging in very manipulative behavior towards her. It seems as though we have like, whether you believe he's emotionally abusing her and she's retaliating in a violently abusive way or vice versa, what we seem to be having is Dakota is instigating her in an emotionally abusive way, and Taylor is reacting in a violently abusive way. And it's difficult to place blame on either one of them. I mean, I don't deny that this is a very, very complicated and heartbreaking situation, and it's been so difficult to determine who's truly at fault here. And I think it just goes to show that the system has to recognize better that there can be going in both directions. I think it's a little obtuse, kind of, to think that we have to place blame onto one person. However, on the same token, I become concerned that if we were to say, well, we can have two aggressors who are aggravating the other person in a different way, when someone, and most usually in general, a woman, does finally, after many times of trying to escape an abuser, say she's being abused, then that would open the door to blame being placed also on the victim in the future. So it just gets like so complicated, and I wish there was a better system in place. I wish there was a better way to track things. The biggest pieces of evidence that we have seen so far are showing Taylor as the aggressive one. Of course, there's the argument that we see Dakota emotionally abusing her, but I mean, in the series, but when it comes down to physical harm, we've only seen visually in a video Taylor doing that to Dakota, and then later Taylor alleging that Dakota has been harmful physically to her and has shown selfies of bruises on her body, but has not reported those incidents to the police. So it's hard to, I guess, trust the selfie of it all. And that was something that we watched the judge kind of bring up in the live I did where we watched the trial itself. I also want to bring up the fact that it's important to understand that declining to file charges and nothing happened are very, very different. So the DA isn't saying that Dakota lied, and the DA is also not saying that Taylor didn't do what is alleged. The DA is basically saying now that they can't prove it in court with what they have. There is no way to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that either individual in this situation is telling the truth. This is just a legal determination. It's not a moral one. And it's a distinction that the internet as a whole isn't particularly interested in making. But what this also means is that Taylor's probation from the 2023 incident is no longer at immediate risk of revocation. So she still might be off probation without federal charges in August of 2026, I believe. And that was the biggest legal threat hanging over her head, which was the possibility that new charges could trigger enhanced penalties and unravel her plea deal. But with no charges being filed, that threat has receded. That said, this isn't necessarily an exoneration. The DA's office specifically noted that their review was limited to evidence submitted by Draper PD and West Jordan PD. The protective order proceedings, which operate under a lower evidentiary standard, are still very much active. And those proceedings revealed something the criminal investigation never would have. Now, the April 7th hearing in front of 3rd District Court Commissioner Russell Menas was supposed to be about Dakota's protective order against Taylor, but it turned into something much more revealing. Because both Taylor and Dakota appeared remotely, cameras off, and their lawyers were the ones in the courtroom. And what came out over the course of that hearing painted a picture that is far more nuanced and more disturbing than either side's public narrative. So let's start with what's alleged against Taylor. Mortenson's attorney, Daniela Diaz, argued that Taylor had a pattern of involving their son in violent confrontations. She alleged that Taylor had previously tried to involve a child in the violence. And Michael McDonald, the court-appointed guardian ad litem forever, the son, told the court that he'd seen a video from May 2025 showing Taylor pushing Dakota and screaming at him to leave her house, all while Dakota was holding their son Ever. And McDonald's assessment was very blunt. He said, "That makes me very nervous about her ability to control herself," unquote. He noted that Taylor should, quote, "have the tools to avoid these situations." And this was a pointed reference to the counseling and evaluations that she's completed as conditions of her 2023 plea deal. Now here's what's alleged against Dakota. Taylor's lawyer, Eric Swinyard, presented what he called the truck tussle, an account of the February 2026 incident that differs dramatically from Dakota's version. Now, according to Swinyard, the two argued in a truck specifically to avoid waking the children inside the home. Now, Dakota's protective order filing said that Taylor threw a drink at him, but Swinyard told the court that during the altercation, Dakota slammed Taylor's head into the dashboard and punched her in the leg. He presented photos of those bruises I discussed earlier, and Taylor had actually filed her own temporary protective order against Dakota just 1 hour before that hearing. Commissioner Menas's response was notably ever-handed. He said that he had concerns going both ways and noted that even if he was trying to provoke a response, the actions that occurred are very troubling, unquote. He didn't absolve either party, but he did order supervised visitation for Taylor, only 8 hours per week with Ever, and set an April 30th hearing where both protective orders will be argued on the merits. Now, this is the thing that complicates the dominant narrative right now, that Dakota is the aggressor. Because we found out that just before that hearing, Taylor filed her own protective order against him and was granted it. And the terms are the very same ones that applied to Taylor under Dakota's order. They must stay 100 feet away from each other. They cannot contact each other in any way and cannot go into each other's homes. Now, Dakota retains temporary custody of Ever until the 30th hearing. Let me know if you'd like me to go live and watch that hearing with you. Now, since all of this has happened, if you follow this at all on social media, you are probably feeling like you're in the middle of the crossfire as well, because we see people swinging from one end of the pendulum to the other. Now, if you look at Taylor and her posts, which she was still posting very consistently until recently, and we're about to get into that. But if you looked on her posts where she's sharing these moments of grief, but also gratitude towards her supporters, you will see a lot of people commenting their support to her. But if you go to places like Reddit, it is all criticism of her. Everyone's saying she needs to get off of the internet, and then Taylor will clap back at anyone who does comment negatively on her public posts and say, this is her job. She has to be online, which isn't necessarily true. I mean, allegedly, she still got paid from The Bachelorette despite it not airing, and who knows what other residuals she's getting from Hulu. So I believe that it would probably be in her best interest to take a break from social media. Now, let's talk about the Hulu and the media and The Bachelorette of it all. Now, ABC has not confirmed whether the already filmed season of The Bachelorette will actually air at a later date. And Disney actually declined to comment on the DA's decision to not file new charges. The show, for now, remains shelved with no public timeline. The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives Season 5 filming did pause. Now, Disney held a Zoom call with the cast informing them that filming was on hold pending the company's investigation. Now, as of the week of filming this, it broke that Hulu has started filming Secret Lives of Mormon Wives Season 5 once again. And there were rumors that Taylor was left out of that equation. But then she started responding to comments who brought that up, saying, well, that's not what I heard, alluding to the fact that no, she was still filming season 5. And then news broke that said Taylor refused to return for filming. So people online are like, okay, Taylor, which is it? So after all of this public discourse, yet again, Taylor not only stops posting on social media, she deletes her social media. She basically disappeared from public life. She's deactivated her TikTok and Instagram accounts. And this is literally a day or two after she responded to a commenter who said, you need to heal off social media. And Taylor pushed back with, quote, that sounds like the reasonable answer. However, I will be doing the opposite. I'll continue sharing on social media, knowing how ugly healing truly can be. Making and editing videos is my way of processing, just like people like to write into a journal. This is my way, and I choose to share it, unquote. And then 3 days later, a source tells People magazine that Taylor is taking a breather, and it's been a lot the last couple of months to consume. People also confirmed on April 22nd that Taylor will not be filming. Apparently, TMZ said that Taylor may return to the show at some point and that the entire cast and production crews are supportive of her coming back. But right now, season 5 moves on without her and without Dakota. She also notably, but allegedly, left the Mormon church. She posted a couple weeks ago that she was kind of saying goodbye and closing the doors to the Mormon chapter of her life. But we still don't know specifics. She was pretty vague in that post. Now, I kind of think that this is everyone trying to save face, show that they're supportive of Taylor, even if the public isn't. But it also points to there being more going on behind the scenes in the legal world than we really know. It is my belief that with this April 30th custody date looming, her lawyers were probably like, if you can't control yourself going on social media, you need to just deactivate everything because it's all public record. It's all public information. Her lawyers can pull from her social media to show, okay, she's unwell. She is not in the best state to be the primary caregiver of her children. She is fighting for custody at this point for not just Ever, but potentially her other 2 children right now. So I don't think it's a coincidence that this happened the week before she's about to have a hearing regarding custody. And it doesn't surprise me that, Disney execs and the cast and everybody is suddenly running to support her now because I think they're still trying to save face. I mean, these are billion-dollar organizations. If you consider the Disney Hulu Plus combo, they are going to want to air these seasons and they are going to want someone as controversial as Taylor Frankie Paul on because look at the uproar it has caused. Look at the public attention these people are getting. Even the head of reality at Disney said that the door is open to still welcome Taylor with open arms into the Secret Lives of Mormon Wives fold. So it's kind of hard to believe where we are right now. The woman who was arguably the biggest star in reality television in the world has no social media, no show to film, supervised visits with her son, and a court date in a few days. And the man who filed the protective order against her has stepped back. He's actually submitted a public apology and is saying that he's focusing on his child. The DA has declined to charge either of them, and the judge has concerns about both of them. And the Disney executive in charge of the franchise that started all of this is on the record saying that the Bachelorette season is great and he hopes people get to see it. So this machine didn't just pause. It's kind of recalibrating in a way. And whether Taylor Frankie Paul comes back or we ever see The Bachelorette or to the public eye at all, it's a decision that is not going to be made by courts or prosecutors, but by the very same entertainment industry that put her in front of the cameras in the first place. I mean, arguably, they built her, they broke her, and now they're deciding, should we rebuild her? And that's not a redemption arc. It's turning into a business model. She is going to have a comeback. Mark my words. Because perhaps shockingly, she has still a mountain of very young and perhaps more impressionable supporters. She still has millions of people on her side, and her disappearing from the internet was probably not just the best legal move she could make. It's probably also one of the biggest PR moves she can make because people are going to miss her. They're going to want to see what shenanigans she's up to. I mean, she is essentially the face of the Secret Wives franchise, and she was supposed to be the saving grace of the failing Bachelorette, Bachelor Nation franchise. So I'm so eager to hear what you all think about this. Are you getting exhausted of hearing about her, or would you like me to cover the hearing this week? Just let me know. I believe I have that day free. I really, really appreciate your time and attention today. Please stay safe out there, ask questions, and always stay skeptical. And I will see you in my next video very soon. Thank you so much. Bye.